messaging. So leading with an aspiration, you still want to talk about the problems, still want to talk about the pains. We just don't want to lead with them. When you lead with pain and you lead with problems, not saying it can't ever work, but you have a higher probability of attracting that desperate type client who doesn't have anywhere else to turn. When we attract people with some sort of end goal in mind, an aspirational goal in mind, who are willing to invest in themselves, and it just drastically increases the quality of the leads that come through our pipeline. Boom! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Marketing Monday with Joel and Laurel. Super happy to have you tune in here today. Today, we are going to talk about what's old is new and what's new is old. Maybe that doesn't even make a whole lot of sense, but I think it will probably the next couple of minutes. We're going to jam on all things with offer validation and testing and what's working now. I like to share my current stats and the current tests that I'm running right now, because I want you guys to really understand what it looks like to be in the weeds, deep in the weeds of getting things launched, getting things up and running. And that's really my whole goal with doing this. And I've got Laurel here, who also shares what's working now. And so this is more of a behind the scenes look at what we are doing. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's episode. Laurel, how we doing?
We are doing amazing. And when you said we could talk about power offers and kind of what's working, whether it's low ticket, high ticket, I got really excited because it's one of those. I don't know if it's because like we're getting out of winter and coming into spring, and it's like got to go back to kind of the basics, because a lot of times people get really chill during the winter time, I think. And then in the springtime, they're like, oh crap, I've been sitting. Now I got to get things in motion. And one of the fastest ways, in my opinion, to get things in motion is to just launch a whole bunch of power offers and see what happens. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to our chat today, because I've got some stuff that I think you could help me out with my clients, and I think a lot of people could get value out of just the conversation itself.
Sounds great. I'm super excited to dive in. A little bit of context. So we were chatting before we kicked off our podcast here today, and I always ask Laurel, "Hey, what do you want to talk about here today? Anything new that's happening in your world? Anything, top of mind that you think would be hot for our discussion here today?" And she was talking about how there's just this wave of people who are trying to get back into the world of webinar funnels. There's this, there's this thinking of always needing to try something new, the latest and greatest, gizmo and gadget, whether it's Claudebot, whether it's the next AI system, whether it's the next AI model. And in reality, humans still buy from humans. As far as we can tell, our psychology really hasn't changed, and it comes down to starting with the basics. And what I always talk about, and what Laurel always talks about, is starting with the basics of just making the dang offer, which is what I call power offers. It's been my entire framework for the past 8 or so years. Spoiler alert, that's what I'm doing in my business right now. And double spoiler alert, guess what, pops off every single time before any of my other campaigns pop up? It's power offers. So I'm going to turn it over to Laurel first, and then maybe we can wrap up. And I'm going to share, some behind the scenes, stats of my campaigns, the tests that I'm running, and I'll prove to you that power offers are the ones that just pop right out of the gate. So Laurel, I'm going to turn it over to you and give us a little bit of context as to what we're going to talk about here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have onboarded a couple of new clients over the last week or so, and it's funny that all 4 of them are coming from a program that taught them how to do webinar funnels, which there's nothing absolutely wrong with webinar funnels. They're not dead. It's just, I believe that there is a certain sequence that needs to happen before launching a webinar, only because I've seen so many people, lose so much money on this. And it's kind of like the same story again. They can get the leads, but they can't actually get people to either book calls or convert. And so I always go back to, and it's one of those things where I'm going to let them do what they're wanting to do, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall into the sunk cost trap. Like they've already spent 10, 15 grand with someone else building out this thing. And they're just like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and test it out. And it almost always happens to where they spend a bunch of money and they end up not getting the quality of calls that they want, or they end up with no one buying at the end. And so I'll just kind of break one of them down: relationship funnel, right? There's just something about personal development that is really, really hard to attract the right people, because especially like when you're looking at someone who's looking for love, that could appeal to so many people, even when you are, really you're targeted in who you're targeting on Facebook. A lot of people think that, my client, she's like, we need to change the targeting because I'm getting, not qualified people. And it's like, well, it's nothing to do with the targeting in the actual ads manager. It's all about the targeting in your messaging. So I would love to jam on this with you, Joel.
Yeah.
um because like she is she's really, how would I say this? She's got a very unique offer. But I think her funnel is too broad,
Hmm.
right? Like especially like with relationship. And one of the things that's really cool about this particular client is she actually has celebrity clients. And I'm like, why are we not going after, the different levels of celebrity? Well, okay, you worked with football players, you worked with this, why not go one step layer down where it's the powerful CEO women or something like that? And so that was kind of like the last conversation I had with her on Voxer, as a matter of fact, before getting on this call with you. So I was like, I'm going to take advantage of that smart mind of Joel's.
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right. So give me some context. So what is the offer? What has she run so far? What have been, some of the results?
Yeah, basically she was running a webinar funnel, and it was talking about what women need to know before they get back into dating. And that was like the messaging. And as you can see, that was kind of like a really big broad message. And she's really caught up in the safety of the offer, but I don't, in my gut, I don't think that that's the main thing that the women that she really wants to target. I think these are women who don't have the time to spend on dating apps, and the time wasted on going on all these dates, because these are, higher powerful women that she's trying to target.
Mm,
And so I kind of feel like maybe she might have the wrong, maybe, hook. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
definitely. That's probably where I would start for sure. Some other quick questions that would be helpful. When you say webinar funnel, is it on demand, meaning they opt in and watch it immediately, or is it they have to
It is an
wait?
on demand. It is an on demand webinar. So the funnel is pretty simple. It is landing page straight to webinar. She doesn't have deadline funnel or anything like that. It's just here's the information, and it is a 60-minute webinar.
Okay. Awesome. And so the repeat the hook back to me again, and I'm assuming the ads reflect this hook as well.
Yeah, so she did her own ads herself before coming to me. And so basically the whole hook is, here's how to find the right guy in the safest way possible, is kind of like the gist of it.
Are these people who have been married in the past, or like what's their current relationship status?
These are older women who have been married before. They do have they are in higher level jobs. That's kind of the direction that we wanted to go in, because she's helped so many celebrity clients find love, like I said, like football players and high level, women who are in, like B-list actresses and stuff like that. And so she does have the experience to help these people. And so I'm right now, my next thing to do for her is, how could we create an ICA that is going to want this offer? But I don't think the safety, I don't think safety is the main idea, and that's what she's trying to go for. And I get why she's trying to do that, but I don't think that that's the
What does
correct
safety
hook.
mean?
Right. Like she's just had experiences in the past where women have come to her and said and told her horror stories about dating, and so she just thought that that would be kind of an interesting hook to go after. I think it's an important element.
Yeah, let me dive in. So when I say what does safety mean, like in terms of your client's ICP, like how does she define safety?
Correct. So basically, making sure that people are meeting at the right place, that they're not getting into a car with them on the first date, that they're not, that, like, just all of these ways to keep these women safe, because she has had some, horror stories of people who come to her, like whether it's a client, a former client of hers, or a client, or just people talking to her in Messenger, talking about, how they ended up getting attacked, or all of these things. And so she feels like it's her duty as a relationship coach to kind of make
Mhm.
sure that
Yeah.
her ICA knows the safety behind it all.
So she is generating appointments, correct? She's generating calls, but they're not qualified?
She is, but she's saying that a lot of the people are, like, on disability
Yeah.
that kinda thing.
Yeah.
And she's got, like, a $6,000 coaching program.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all, right? So it's one of the things that you kinda have to be, uh you have to be very conscious about that with Facebook advertising, right? So by contrast, and I'm not saying she needs to go to this other platform. When you go to a platform and advertise on, say, LinkedIn, right? Totally different um, type of person that hangs out on LinkedIn. They're there for professional networking, typically higher income earners, a higher floor, and the expectation is just drastically different, right? With Facebook, they have like everybody on the platform. So your targeting, your messaging really has to be dialed in because when Facebook starts getting those signals of like, okay, cool, we're getting conversions, like it's going to keep feeding it to them. And a lot of times it will feed it to the lowest common denominator. And that will produce, especially in the relationship niche, personal development niche, because it can be so broad. There are a lot of people who just need help. And so there was a client of mine. I tell this story all the time, and it's been so long that I butcher it. So I'm just going to really give like the high level overview of what it is. He was a some sort of you know health practitioner for working with hospice patients. His whole goal was to help hospice patients like transition to end of life in the most comfortable way possible. And he would approach them a couple of different ways. And the way the basically the two ways that he would approach them is, he would do it like, do you want to be as comfortable as possible, or do you want to be as, in as little pain as possible? And the prescription was the same, and how he would help them would be the same, but how he approached them with one of those two hooks would immediately dictate how much pain medication he would have, like the patient would want. So if it's like, you want to be in as little pain as possible, they just want as many meds as possible for them to transition to end of life. Versus, if you want to be as comfortable as possible, then it's all about like setting up the right environment and helping them just get in a good emotional state, et cetera, et cetera. And he goes, it was night and day difference. Like I could talk to literally the same person and just present two completely different hooks, and their response would be totally different. And that applies to our advertising. How does it apply to our advertising? It applies to our advertising whether we are approaching people who are in pain or whether we are approaching people who have some sort of positive end goal in mind, right? And so our messaging will dictate the types of people that we attract, bottom line. And so if we are getting people who are maybe in more of a desperate situation, that's an indicator that our front end messaging is attracting those types of people. So we want to nix that in the butt. Like everything that comes, everything with advertising starts with the hook. How are you hooking them in? That drastically changes the quality of people that come into your pipeline, into your funnel. Where people really optimize for is like, I want to get the lowest cost per lead or lowest cost per application. And that can be a slippery slope because it's all relative. And so, sure, we could probably get the lowest cost per lead possible, but are they the right types of people? And there's probably a lot more people who are in a desperate situation that just want to talk to somebody, especially in relationships, especially if they've been traumatized, especially if they have nowhere else to turn to. Well, if they see this ad out here that promises some amazing solution because it's saying, I want to keep you safe, I want to yada, 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 we got to fix that, right? So you're on the right track. So you're heading down the path of exactly what I would advise, and I would want to really start to explore what get away from the pain-based messaging and focus on aspirational goal type messaging. So leading with an aspiration, still talk like you still want to talk about the problems, still want to talk about the pains. We just don't want to lead with them. When you lead with pain and you lead with problems, not saying it can't ever work, but you have a higher probability of attracting that desperate type client who doesn't have anywhere else to turn. And it sounds bad because, people still want to help them, but we can't help everybody. And like, we still got to make the business financials work. Right. And so when we attract people with some sort of end goal in mind, an aspirational goal in mind, who are willing to invest in themselves and know that there are people out there that can't help me, it just drastically increases the quality of the leads that come through our pipeline. Does that make sense?
100%. And one of the things that I told her, I said, these are women who likely have every single other aspect of their life together. They probably, are probably taking good care of their body. They're probably already health conscious. They've already made all the money. So these are like highly successful people. And so it's like this is probably the last thing in their entire, health, wealth, and relationships that they have to dial in. And so that kind of already has a different feel than someone who is quote looking for love. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? So
Hmm.
that's why I was like trying to kind of feel how we can massage the message to attract those, those higher level people who probably have already likely invested in something very similar.
Yeah. So one of the things that I would explore is to get into the psychographic and the demographic personality traits of this type of person. I'm assuming they're probably type A, right? I'm assuming they may be divorced. I just saw it, ironically, I just saw this Instagram short or reel or one of those short form videos popped up on my phone. And it was of Tony Robbins, probably at his Date with Destiny conference or one of his conferences. And it was just a 60-second interaction with this woman who stood up and she's like, I chase all the, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically, I can't find anyone because I just chase everybody away. Right. And she's like, and I am a masculine personality. And Tony just like goes, okay. And he just walks right up to her. You can just see her kind of like cower. Now, Tony's a very imposing man. I mean, he's just a giant. Right. But it was funny because, this might be translatable for your offer or your client's offer. Right. Like I would start to maybe explore that. Are these people type A? Do they believe that they are more masculine? Do they believe that they are the ones who are chasing their partners away? Do they believe that like they're the cause of why they can't find anyone, or do they think that they just can't find the right person? Like those are all the types of things that I would speak to. And probably the new hook for the webinar and the ads might be along the lines of it's a balance of we want to confirm their existing beliefs while shifting them, right? And so they believe that they're type A, or maybe they believe that they just can't find the right person, and so we want to try and come up with those angles of you know confirming their bias while still opening the door to shift their beliefs. And so, like, what do you think some of their pre-existing biases might be about themselves, about their ability to find a partner or a spouse or whatever?
Yeah, so a lot of these women think that they don't have time, and when they do, they're spending it with the wrong men. And the men that they're spending time with, they think that it's because they're super successful, and the man ends up not being like as successful as the woman, and so they think that they're intimidated by them.
They think the man is intimidated by the woman, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And at least from the conversations that she's had with a lot of these women, is that they're wasting time going out on dates with these men who end up not lasting longer than one date, or not lasting through the woman saying, "Hey, like I'm super successful. I've got all of this stuff." And then the men ghost.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what's the reality behind it? Like that's what they think. So with your client, like what is the truth?
That would be a really great question to ask her. Because I'm not really sure what the answer to that is.
Yeah. So that would be one of the things that I would ask her because that's part of that door you want to leave open, right? It's you want to confirm their existing belief, but also leaving that crack open so you can shift their own belief. Like it's not this, it's that. You might think that these men are wasting your time, but The reality is maybe you're chasing that. Maybe you're the one who's chasing them away.
Mm.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what her methodology is. Those are the types of exercises that I would go through with her to start to attract those people who, have probably tried everything and with no success. So what are those things that they've tried?
So basically they have tried the dating apps, and they have tried the ones like that are very specifically, geared towards where the woman sends the first message versus the guy sending the first message. They have tried going to the networking. She did tell a story about how one of her clients had the worst time at speed dating. So they are making the effort beyond just the dating apps. They are attending, they're getting set up by their friends. They're doing all of these things, but they're just not able to attract the guy that would fit with what their personality is.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, so that would be the direction that I would head. It would be along the lines of, the very typical ads that she could try in the short term is obviously you've tried X, Y, and Z. Let me show you in this training why all that stuff sucks, why all that stuff doesn't work for type A personalities. Maybe they don't identify themselves as type A, but why that stuff doesn't work for hyper successful, um, you know, corporate women or however they self-identify. So that would be one type of ad that I would run for sure. And then the other type of ad would be a would be a self-identifying power offer. So exactly what we talked about before with Brent, right? Those just crush for personal development. I mean, that one has to be very specific though to her target ICP, and I would absolutely not talk about any negative pains. All aspirational for that. All aspirational for that. And she could even try a couple different variations where it's I do X, Y, and Z, or one of my clients did X, Y, and Z, right? And found her partner, in a month, 2 months, whatever it was, after, going on 150 unsuccessful dates, whatever it is. But I did that for Brent. I did that for another client. His name was Brett. So Brent and Brett. I did that for he was in personal development as well, and he was in like mindset personal development, which is even harder than what Brent was advertising for. But they just crush, and those are really, really powerful. And so I would definitely lean into that along the lines of, I am I am busy AF, right? Whatever their language is, I am busy. I work out 6 days a week, and this is probably what her target avatar does. I work out 6 days a week, immediately go to work. I run a multi-million-dollar company, or I manage 150 team members. I got people asking for my help all day, every day. And at the end of the day, I just want to come home to someone that blank, right? Someone that can support me, someone that can, be my perfect match. Like, I don't know what that language is, but like I would definitely run a handful of those style ads to see which ones hit, because when they hit big, and they're the sneaky ones. Those are the sneaky ads that will scale because they really are story based, story driven, and they just press in on all of the aspirations and emotions that women want. And so, if I were her, if I were you, those would be the direction that I would go, and really focus on aspirational driven messaging, because if she's getting people on disability, it's 100% ad messaging issue, 100%. What is her webinar? What does her webinar talk about? Is it, being safe? Is it everything about being safe?
Yeah, so basically it's how to basically get on a date and be able to walk away in a safe situation has been like it. And to me it's like
Yeah, I wouldn't run that at
so
all.
broad. Like, it's so broad though. I already turned it, and it's one of those things where I just kind of let them run, like, because
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
do understand where clients are coming from. So what would be the best, like, if the best 2 to 3 questions that I could ask this client to get some of this information out of her.
Yeah,
How
that
would you what questions would you ask?
what do what do your clients currently believe is true, and what do you know is false? Meaning, every time you talk to a client, they always tell you ABC, right? They believe that there's no man out there for them, right? They believe that they're just not compatible. They believe that all these dating apps suck, and maybe they do, right? But I would want to ask her, like, what exactly do your clients believe about their current situation, and what do you know is not true, and why, right? So you want to know exactly why that's not true. That'll go into her system, her methodology, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd ask a bunch of, a handful of those questions, like, okay, cool, what else? What else do they believe? What else is that true or not? Right? Why is that the case? Those unlock the biggest levers for you as a consultant to pull for your client, to now pull on those different angles to see which ones resonate. You already know that her current angle is not where she wants to go, where she should go, right? So that would be where I start. Like, what do your clients currently believe is true about their situation, and what do you know is false, right? How can you break that down? It's all about their existing beliefs and rebuilding them.
Okay. Do you mind if I pick your brain over one other client
Sure.
that's a little bit different than what we would typically? So I have another client. She is in the spiritual space
Hmm.
and she's great at marketing. So basically her main skill is building funnels. So she has a proprietary methodology for building out slow, like self-liquidating offer type funnels.
Hmm.
Her superpower, however, is she uses quantum physics and spiritual guidance to help business owners implement the entire strategy. So think spiritual collides with marketing.
Okay.
I can tell by your face that you might not have heard this type of offer before, or maybe you have, and that's why you're smiling.
Keep going. All right. So what's she run? Is she running a slow? Is she running a self-liquidating offer?
She is running a self-liquidating offer. It is performing really well. She utilizes a spiritual, how would you say, the spiritual guide who comes through Chat GPT.
Okay.
And so that's kind of like, so basically you would think that she's being guided through marketing through intuition.
Interesting. Okay. So what's her offer? What is her SLO, and what's her problem? What's the issue?
So yeah, so basically these are women who are doing mostly organic, and so she's wanting them to put inside a more automated system that starts with a self-liquidating offer funnel. And basically she's just guided on coaching them through the spirituality side of it. So like eliminating limiting beliefs and unlocking different parts of, what they can actually do through spiritual frameworks, I guess I would be the
Are
best way
her
to say
clients
it.
spiritual as well?
Yes. So we are going after, that was one of the things that I did tell her to, if you're going to go into this route, you kind of got to go all in, because one time I did have another client who was in that space, and the agency that client was working with, they told her not to market with the spirituality. And what ended up happening was she was enrolling people, and they were asking for refunds because they were like, this is the devil and blah blah blah. And so I was like, no, if you're going to go into the spirituality, you need to go really hard into it, otherwise, so I was like, I'm going to get Joel's take on this, because I have my own take on it, but I know, like, someone who might not have, like, the spiritual side dialed in, it might be kind of interesting for to hear your perspective.
Yeah. So what's she struggling with? What's the issue?
So basically, we are just launching ads. So she herself has never used ads in order to sell this offer. Herself, she has been utilizing organic marketing through this self-liquidating offer funnel. So as you can see, like, it converts really, really well. And so right now I'm at the beginning stages of writing the ads to send to her self-liquidating offer.
Okay. Cool. So what are your questions? What can I help?
Yep. Yeah. So whenever you hear me explain this offer, is it clear to you?
No.
No.
but that's very typical for spiritual offers.
Yeah.
Um, and you are in the right direction, meaning I whenever I have worked on spiritual offers, it can be really, really challenging. So you want to avoid the number of conversions that you have to make in one fell swoop. And so you want to avoid the fact that, in order to get your ideal customers, like what are all the things that they need to believe to be true in order for them to win? And if you are needing to convince them that spirituality or quantum physics or whatever it is that they are doing and they don't already believe that, that's going to make your conversions infinitely harder, or it's going to be a bait and switch where you don't talk about that on the front end and then they get in the product and it's like, oh, this is all spiritual, I had no idea this was what this was going to be.
I want to
Right.
avoid that right there.
Right. And so you really do want to go after the people who are already spiritually in tune, or already talking about quantum physics, or already talking about these technical words that her market is already familiar with. So you're heading down the right path already, because you do not want to repeat what that other agency already did. The fact that they were able to make sales is, kind of incredible, but it sounds like it was a bait and switch. Like it wasn't transparent upfront that they were going to be getting into the spiritual world and or whatever. So that is the first thing, is making sure that all the language is talking to the people who are already in tune and already believe in what she's talking about. She just has a different mechanism to help them implement, right? So that would be where I start for sure.
So one of the things that I was telling her, and this is just an idea, and I kind of want to bounce it off of you. So my idea, because I mean, I am a very spiritual person, so I understand what she's trying to do, and a lot of times I do pick my business coach. Like my mentor Nick is a super, super spiritual person, and that's what I love about it. Um, so my idea was to help her with a VSL. So we would do basically a reverse VSL, get the application, and then make sure that they watch the VSL to confirm before booking the call. So that's kind of my flow, just to kind of keep her to from hopping on calls where someone might not be high, a more qualified person. So we're doing kind of a reverse mini webinar VSL kind of thing. And I told her, I said, maybe if you did the funnel flow, right? Like Cole Gordon is really good at this, like just kind of like sitting down, drawing out the funnel so that people can establish, yes, this is a funnel offer. We are going to help you build out this entire funnel. But then at every single step at the funnel, talking about where quantum physics connects to each essential part of the funnel and how scientifically it's proven that doing this mechanism to get them over actually works. So that's kind of my idea for the VSL.
Is she selling a high ticket offer, or is it low ticket?
She is selling a high ticket offer where she will do the entire funnel build for them, but the promise is like energetically she knows exactly what to build and why because of the energy and her special gifts. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Hmm. So so in simplistic terms, she's a funnel builder with a quantum physics spin.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Do people know about quantum physics? Like, is that high level of awareness?
I think her audience is spiritual, so they probably are used of that type of language. At least
Okay.
I am.
Or is quantum physics her mechanism, right? Because there's the world of spirituality, and she's in that sphere, like that's the umbrella, right?
Mhm.
And now she is able to pick out or pluck quantum physics and apply it to each person, and that's how she's able to be so successful.
Yeah, so basically utilizing attraction marketing, raising people's vibrations and all of that stuff, but she is saying that as she's building out the funnel, she's using a lot of these tools in order to get the person the right messaging so that that person could be more successful versus just going to a normal funnel builder.
Okay. So the enemy is the or the competitor, the enemy, whatever, are typical, funnel builders who aren't spiritually in tune, so they don't get them, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's where I would lead, and that would be part of, my whole hook, my whole, angle of, if you're tight, if you want to launch an online business, um, or if you've got a product that's, you know, ready to be monetized or however you want to frame it, but you just can't find the right, you can't find the right agency to work with because they just don't get your spirituality, whatever. I would use whatever terms
Mm.
they use.
Mhm.
You know, here's exactly here's exactly why. And then that would be the lead into your funnel. So I would be going all in on those hooks of just explaining the true difference, because I think there's probably a huge market out there. That's one thing that I grossly underestimated, was how large this spirituality niche is. Um, it's it's large and in charge. There's a lot of people in it, but they do struggle with finding people that just get them right. I've
Mhm.
had quite a few people in the spirituality niche hire me, and I'll be totally honest. We've had some success with some of them, but it can be challenging, and I'll be asking really really dumb questions, and they I don't know. They get the most frustrated, man. And I'm not trying to throw shade, but you know, sometimes I think that spirituality, spiritually driven people might, maybe it's a wrong assumption, but I tend to just default to them maybe being the nicest people, and I have not had the best experiences with them. And I don't understand why, but so I've just totally excluded myself from that market because it hasn't, I haven't jived with them. And I'm not even like anti-spiritual. Like, I'm pretty spiritual in my own right, and I'm very open and non-judgmental. But man, I've had some pretty interesting experiences in this niche. So where I would position this would be exactly that. Like, if you know that you've got something to offer into this market, you need someone who knows how to speak this language, and not only that, but you need to leverage this as a superpower. You need to leverage your openness to spirituality as a superpower to make your funnels even more amazing, convert even better. And so if that's you, right? Let's figure out if you've got a great offer, and watch this video, and I'll explain why my quantum physics methodology is the best for you. So it's a very, very rough. I wouldn't run with that copy, but like that's the angle and the approach that it start to go down.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the right angle because like what you were saying, like I think that's probably why like I do get a lot of spirituality like offers thrown my
Hmm.
way, and I think it is because like attracts like, but then sometimes I get so wrapped up into it myself because I understand it so well. Whereas I think in order for her to be able to go to that next level, I'm going to have to be on the cusp of that. And I think I'm too much into it and I need to
Hmm.
go a little bit one step outside of it. And so that's why I thought it would be a good conversation for us because I think that is where I need to dance with this offer is a little bit outside of where I am with it.
For sure. For sure. Yep, that's the direction that I would head. 100%.
Okay. Okay. Well, those are the two clients right now that I'm currently working on, and that helped me out tremendously. Because like a lot of times, what you say, sometimes you're just in too much in the bottle to read the label on the outside. Because I mean, these are two women who do have like incredible, skill sets. It's just trying to make them stand out from everyone else who's doing the exact same thing sometimes can be a challenge.
Yep, 100%. So I want to wrap up with one of the things that we mentioned earlier. We teased in the opening, just kind of talking about what's old is new, what's new is old,
Mhm.
um, the whole nine yards. And you and I always talk about the power offer. We always talk about like that's the starting gate. Um, you said earlier a lot of your clients are getting back into the world of webinar funnels and the whole nine yards and shiny object syndrome. But when you are first starting out, there's nothing more powerful than being direct with your offer and just getting that initial feedback of, booking appointments or getting that first initial conversion. And over the past few weeks, as we've been launching campaigns for our automatic advertising system, every single time that I launch a new test, a new angle, like I'm always like a power offer is part of my tests. And so I want to share with you guys my most recent campaign. So I launched some new tests late last night or middle of the day yesterday. Let me see if I can share my screen here. How do I do this? Screen, entire screen, right here. Okay, cool. And so this is for our automatic advertising platform, and I use my own platform to run my own ads. And you can see I launched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different tests. This one was my control. It's been running for a little while, and it got me a book call yesterday. But if we take a look at this, right, I ran a power offer, and that was the first one that got a new conversion as of spending $16 in ad spend. All of the other ones, just they might have some decent click through rate. Actually, they were all relatively low performing. This one didn't work at all. Look at this one. Lowest cost per link click, highest click through rate. Like it just freaking worked. And so it's just a testament to starting with what works, right? And the hook and the angle is super super simple, right?
Mm.
We'll demo our ad agency system. We'll demo our ad system for your agency at no charge, right? And then if we go into previewing the actual copy, it follows my power offer framework, right? Meta Ads agency owners running 5 client accounts. If I offer to demo a custom automated advertising system on 1 to 2 of your client accounts, so you can see it cut your creative production by 80% and it did it at no charge. Would you take make up on it? Here's the deal. Here's some credibility and authority. I'm looking for 3 agencies, no contracts, no commitments, no catch. Why free? Here's what you get on the call. It's not for hobbyists or side hustlers. This is for agency owners doing at least 10K a month. We're serious about scaling without the head count, right? There's nothing more simple than this, guys. And what this is really doing is it's validating. Well, I already know that the offer is valid, but I'm still running it. We have proven it, but starting simple like this is where everybody needs to start. It provides that foundation of that initial feedback. Right now, I wouldn't ever say that one, conversion is a valid offer, but I've been running iterations of this for weeks now, right? And so I'm trying to find new winners. I'm trying to expand, but I'm still iterating on my own power offer. And this is the one that is still crushing. It's still crushing, right? And so anyway, I just want you guys to see we eat our own dog food. Okay. This is still what works. Don't overcomplicate it. AI is crazy. AI is amazing and AI works, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the foundational principles still apply. So just some insights, some behind the scenes insights. I want you guys to see that I still do everything that I preach. I still do everything that I practice, and it still works 8 years later down the pipe. And so it's pretty crazy. We are constantly iterating, we are constantly developing. And what's really cool is all of those ads launched last night using my own system, developing the creative, developing the ad copy, deploying straight to my ad account, and it's getting results. So anyway, I don't know what you're seeing, Laurel. I don't know if you're seeing any different data. I don't know if you're seeing your audience get confused or trying all these different things with Claude Bot and getting pulled in 150 different directions. But, foundational principles still remain until our brains get implanted by AI chips and we fundamentally change as humans. Our brains are still psychologically driven and the basics are still working.
My original power offer that I wrote probably 5 or 6 years ago when you and I first started jamming together, and it's been running for 5 or 6 years, and it is still one of my best converting ads for my $7 offer. Because I think sometimes people don't realize that you could run power offers for a low ticket offer. Like it doesn't matter like what type of offer it is. Like I always, and that's why like whenever people join my $7 program, the very first thing that I make them do is the power offer exercise. Because if you cannot explain your offer in 2 to 3 sentences, there's no amount of copywriting that is going to get your offer to convert, in my
Nope.
opinion.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right because it speaks to the core transformation that you do for your clients. And if you can't get that dialed in, like I call that that's your sales messaging, right? So many people want to start with marketing and attract the clicks and come up with all these unique hooks and whatnot. None of that will matter if by the end of it they see your offer and like, oh,
Hmm.
nah, this doesn't this doesn't do anything for me. Um, it's just it's mind-boggling, right? So simple scales, simple works. Start with the basics. Do these like it doesn't have to be a book a call funnel, right? Laurel, you run them for
Yep.
your low ticket membership funnel. You can do it for webinar funnels, right? It's the core transformation of what your training, what your offer, what your program, what your service is going to do for people. I mean, if you think about it, local service businesses, they only run offer ads. Like that's all they do. Like they don't run brand, very, very few of them run brand awareness campaigns. They're running discounts and deals and free consultations. Like those are all offers, right? I think in the world of internet marketing, because we are so inundated with all these different types of strategies and whatnot, that we get pulled in 150 different directions. Like, I got to do a webinar funnel. I got to do, Frank Kern style ads. I got to do all these other things. And it's like, you can, but just do it in the right order, right? What
Hmm.
you are seeing out there are things that work after your foundation is built. It's like, cool. You want to do Kern's, intent based branding? Awesome. It works really, really well. Don't do it until you have an offer that people actually want. Otherwise, you're just pissing money away, and you're going to get so confused. You're going to dive into the ads metrics, like, oh, well, it's giving me a 17% click through rate. Oh, it's giving me a whatever, a watch rate. Oh, but nobody's buying. Go figure, right? And so you just keep it simple, guys. Keep it simple. This is, it's not outdated. You can head to powerofferworkshop.com and grab my $27 training where I walk you through how to find this, how to develop it, how to build your own power offers, the different types of power offers that we run. It should be required training for everybody. I don't care if you're an advanced marketer or a basic marketer, you're just getting started. I have had 8-figure brands buy my training and implement the power offer and get incredible results. Like it's really awesome to see how many power offers are out there in the wild. I used to save them all. Like I used to, like if I saw a power offer ad, I would comment on it and I would do hashtag power offer just so I could like search for it later on. Some people thought that I was like trolling them. Like I'm not trolling you. Like I'm honored that you're using the power offer. I'm giving you props, man. It's really, really cool. And it works. It really, really works. And it's great. Just basic marketing fund. I don't even call it marketing, basic sales foundational principles. So anyway, that's all I've got, Laurel. Anything else you want to contribute?
No, I know what work I gotta go do after this call. Go write some power offers with some of the angles that we talked about.
Yeah, Marielle on my team clipped our most recent podcast from last week, and I am going to run those um, as video ads. I've just been so bogged down. AI is wild. We're about to launch our video platform, video ads, which I am so excited about. So excited about because everybody needs it. Everybody wants it. Like all the calls that I've had the past like 3 weeks, like, oh, do you do video ads? I'm like, we do, but it's coming. Like it is so close to being, to being launched. But video is so different. Like it's so much. Like the systems create image ads, static image ads are a lot more straightforward. Videos are a whole different ball of wax, and it is incredibly complicated. And so we are so close. I created some video ads this morning, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Like AI gives me anxiety, and I think it gives me anxiety because I'm so deep into AI and I'm building AI platforms, and but it's truly incredible. And also the other thing that I'm realizing is we are in our own little bubble, and I knew this was the case when I talk to agency owners. Like some of them might be trying to use AI, but they still haven't put together a full system. So I go into these calls thinking that like, oh, I already know how to do this. I know I can build my own N8N system and all this other stuff. And it's like that's not the case. There are so many people that are so overwhelmed with AI that they are looking for a simple simple system. And so that's been refreshing to hear, because if you bury yourself in YouTube and follow all these AI channels, like, you are going to completely overwhelm yourself, and you're never going to keep up. You are never going to keep up with what launched yesterday, what's launching today, the latest thing that is going to just transform your business, today. And everyone needs to go implement this, and everybody needs to go build out a Claude bot. Everybody needs to go build out whatever the latest and greatest thing is. It's wild. It is wild. But I digress. I'm very excited about the future until AI starts just operating everything autonomously and humans don't exist. It's time to embrace it.
It's definitely that's why I don't look at it unless I have to, and that's why I like your software, because it's just does it for you.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks everybody. We will see you on the next episode. And Laurel, where can they find you? Let's drop some links and point people your way.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram at The Laurel Show. And yeah, it's the best way to get in touch with me.
Awesome. And head over to powerofferworkshop.com if you would like to grab that $27 offer and learn how to build your own power offers. And head to getinspired.app if you want us to set up a fully automated advertising ecosystem for you. All right, everyone. That's what we got for you today. Talk to you soon. See you on the next one.